Hi. All right, we're gonna try another video here today. I'm gonna be away, so that's why I've decided to make another quick video. So on the daily slides, you'll see the presentation slides that I'll be flipping through. There's also a form with a couple of questions that I'd like you to complete. And of course, the link here to this video. So let's get started. All right, we talked about corporate strategies last time, and now moving on to market sectors and segments. You've seen this before, but there's a little bit more details in this higher level topic. So let's go through. A reminder, we're slowly getting closer and closer in these innovations and markets to branding and getting things more personalized. So it's these corporate objectives, going down into the market sectors and segments, and then how to research, and then last we'll talk about personas and a couple of other things too. So we're just slowly getting closer and closer and focusing this innovation and research, okay? So essential ideas: designers must research and consider market sectors and segments in the design of their products. So I'll show you a couple of examples and talk about how the markets and segments are divided. Then there's a few other little things that we'll talk about as well too, okay? So you've seen these, well, just another how it works. Sectors, right? The influence of the sectors, and then how those segments are divided, and then we'll talk a little bit about product families as well too, because you can use sectors and segments to develop different types of products for product families, okay? Reminder about marketing specifications again. So it's important that you're always trying to focus on specific types of markets. So this goes through your design project. We'll see this in the last criteria for the design project as well too. But as a designer, you should pay attention to these things. Okay. So reminder. Lots of reminders, I feel like. So there's the sector and there's a segment. The sector is the broader types of categories that the markets are in, versus the segments are things that are a lot smaller, where purchasers have similar characteristics, taste, geography, etc. That's how it's starting to divide it a little bit more. So bigger sectors, small into the segments, okay? I think so the sectors can include geography as well as some types of industries and these types of things, whereas the segments are a little bit more focused on age, gender, ethnicity, lifestyle, et cetera, okay? So you see more broad, more specific. So here's an example of some of those sectors, right? So telecommunications, finances, industry, consumers, public, commercial, all of these things, and they can be divided differently based on culture and based on geography. Okay, so that's similar to segments as well too, but in the broader scope, these are where these sectors can be divided. If you're following along, you can also check out another little video that might help through the link in the presentation. Okay, so breaking it down further into those segments. So you take a segment, then you can even specifically talk about things like income, age, profession, families, behaviors. Yeah. So looking at something that's important, see the age versus looking at information on how they live, how they work, their particular lifestyles. Okay. So it's good to know this age, but it's even better to know about their values and behaviors. That's a really important point of the segment, as opposed to kind of sectors or broader areas. The age is important, but there's other information that you can add to it too. Okay? And then later on, we'll talk about customer profiles and personas, which will come later, but really focused on an example of what somebody would look like or could be for your market. Going down again, just breaking it down. I feel you've heard this again, but sectors, segments, target market, target audience, user population, and customer profile. So going that, again, big, broad sector to segment, closer, and then really focused into profiles. So something like this, yeah? Sectors, segments, just big, wide, and then it gets closer into these personas. So, and really there are a couple of those terms are the things that are important that make the difference. So if we flip back, you can see The difference in the sector are things like geography, values, culture, who those purchasers are. Those are important, but then focusing more on the segments are these types of characteristics like income, age, profession, family, values, and behaviors. Okay? So pay attention to those two things, those two characteristics. Two words and the types of characteristics that relate to them. Okay, so how does this make a difference to the markets? How does this make a difference to manufacturers, to design? Where does it work? So how do companies consider this and how do they do this? So this is what's that's what's important to understand is how you have all this stuff, now what do you do? So an example is IKEA. They created this report. They've been doing it since 2014. It's called Life at Home. If you're on the slides, you can click here and you can go to a link to the report. But their objective is collecting all this data from different sectors and different areas, mainly about living, and understanding more about what makes a better home, what makes a better life at home. So they collected all this data you can see. So in this Southeast, East Asia region, Australia, Europe, and the United States, they've collected all this information, and then they were able to put it into what they found out was people want security, want ownership, want belonging, want privacy, and want comfort in their homes. So they found all this data, and like, if you go to the website, it links to, that's the report, not the website, but even if you just Google Life at Home IKEA, you'll find it. There's a series of questions that helps you decide, well, what do you want at home? How do you want it at home? What is it like at home? And there are all these questions that kind of help collect some of that data. So based on this data, they found out these informations, and then this helps them design furniture. How do they set up catalogs? How do they have presentation rooms? So all this is what influences their design decisions, all based on this data. Okay? You can read this, press pause if you want to. There's some more details about product design and research, how it's expensive, how it's important to identify what the consumers want and what their needs are, how much money they have to pay for those types of things, and really break down those segments to be more effective, market the product, advertise to them, and sell to those users. So it's all about collecting this information and then how to use it in their designs. McDonald's does the same type of thing. There's a really good video, but unfortunately, you don't have the link to it, and it's blocked in this country. But what the video talks about is how McDonald's does a really good job at looking at the different segments and creating these new products that are for different segments in the market. So this is an Indian advertising, right? These different types of aloo tikki chicken sandwich, right? That's very specific for the Indian market. I'm sure you could think of other examples as well too, but that's what I'm trying to describe, right? So how you're understanding and looking at those markets and then how that influences design decisions, okay? So tasks, a couple of tasks that I want you to do. First, in the presentation, there's a link, and this is a little article about a watch company and how they have designed and used the markets to create these types of watches for kids. So what I want you to try to do is answer the question, how this company takes into account the sector for the design and manufacturing of the watch. Okay, so you should see it. Here's the link to that form. It's the first question, okay? So you should be able to get to that and answer that question. Have a read, pay attention to how they're using it. Are they talking about behaviors? Are they talking about lifestyle? Are they talking about values? What are those things that they're talking about in the article to design the product? The next task is finding some examples where certain products have only been designed for one specific sector, or where certain products have been designed for more than one sector. So you're looking at, if it's healthcare, what type of information is it, and where is that, what product is it? So for that, you're just creating a list of a couple of examples for which type of products have been designed for which type of sectors. So find the sector and find the product. Okay? Those are the last two tasks. I'm going to pause it and then I'll give a quick talk to you about product family in the next video. Okay?